How do you think these stereotypes are made or shaped? Then they are maintained, or how they are manifested, and then they are maintained in society. You can give me anything that comes to your mind. Any answer is a good answer. And when you work on your MA project also, please, when you work on your MA project, make sure something that comes straight from your heart. It should not be something that has academic value, that something that has heart value, right? Only then it can have academic sense. Right? So, yes. How do you think these stereotypes are maintained or manifested or in society? Kadrivan, you can start. Then,
So good morning, sir.
good morning, Kadrivan. Yeah,
Sir, I think stereotypes are manifested by those who are in power, those who acquire power, control the dominant discourse of any society, and through cultural text in that's produced in that society, they produces and manifests new stereotypes. For example, if we take newspapers as a cultural text, I often see words such as Islamic terrorism and Muslim extremists, but I never come across such connotations with other religions. It always says Hindu riot, Hindu Kalavaram, and not Hindu Tiviravadam. But it always says Islamic Tiviravadam and not Islamic Kalavaram. So I think this dichotomy between Islamic Tiviravadam and Hindu Kalavaram has a lot to do with the stereotype of the Muslim in the country. So I think the cultural text that's been produced in a particular socio-cultural landscape adds to the stereotypes, and those who are in power, those who acquire power, maintains and controls this dominant discourse and dominant stereotype in a society. So
very good, insightful, Kadrivan. Two phrases particularly I really loved. One is the dominant discourses that shape discourse in society. There are lots of types of discourses. One is the dominant discourse, one is subdued discourses, the dominant discourses. The next thing you said was cultural texts, how they have a very great social value, how they instill in society a sense of like what is called uh, bad, this is good. Even positive stereotypes sometimes are bad. Positive stereotypes also, right, are not acceptable. Like you said, the word terrorism that associates with a particular religion. Very good, very insightful. Well, yes. Any particular movie or any particular text that you have read or that you have movie that you have watched, where you find such instances of representation of any particular movie or any particular text or any particular short story where you find these representations anyway, you can think about it. You will not give me an answer now, right? Because I want you to focus side by side on your project also. Right? Good, Kadiravan. Very, very happy. Right? Then we'll have Marzia Begum followed by Karis. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Marzia.
So I had a thought that, as Kadir said, stereotypes are manifested by people in power. It is not necessary that it has to be like that. Stereotypes can be manifested by the people. For instance, stereotypes against women. It is shown by women themselves. For instance, our own mother or our own sisters, they say some things which is hurtful against the women itself, and it's seen in every house. So it does not have to be a person in power or a person against, other than a male or someone else. So it's there within our own houses. So I just wanted to share that.
Very good. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Within the,
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
good, Marzia. Within the whole house also sometimes, you'll find such stereotypes having conditioned discourse. Even the own family setup, you'll find your own siblings or your own parents coming up with such stereotypes vis-a-vis representations. Good, very good. Um, Karas Anugraha, then Merlin, Deborah. Yes, Karis, yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna give a most common one. Um, I think anybody who is who has an affinity or faithfulness towards a religion maintain certain stereotypes, because religion, any religion for that matter, I'm not having a particular, uh, I'm not gonna point out. They all have their own stringent principles to follow. So anyone who has that strong faith, uh, we do recognize that religion does not go parallel to the evolving principles that the fast-paced principles that this world is actually uh, moving forward with. So I think this could be sort of like a clash. The more uh, I don't know, religious we are, sometimes we do have a very entrenched in a very, I don't know. Uh, I think this could be a reason to why stereotypes are still held.
Good. Very good. Very thought provoking. Religious minded usually not may. Right? Sometimes they might end up in bigoted versions or perspectives to society, to people. Right? So sometimes they may also sit in the judgment seat and pass judgment on others all the time. They're religious minded. I have also personally seen this, Paris Samudra. Whatever you have said, I have personally seen this. Some, they don't have this broad outlook of inclusivity when it comes to. That's why Karl Marx said, "No, religion is the opium of the masses." And what Nietzsche I have said earlier considers Christianity as a slave morality only because of that reason, right? A morality that makes you subservient. So again, there are a lot of debatable things there, but very good, insightful. How these stereotypes sustain in society we are discussing now, and very good responses. Now the next person is. Other one is finished. Marzion, Merlin, you may. Followed by Miracle. Merlin, we are not able to hear you. Yeah.
So, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Miracle. Yeah.
So, actually, sir, I personally feel from as a child, I have seen something that, these stereotypes, like today we think that, I'm going to talk about a little bit about gender equality. We still think that the women and men have all become equal. But still, in some parts of India, especially the remote places like the villages, still women feel that they are inferior to men, in spite of the fact that they are educated, they go to work, but still they feel and they succumb to the idea that yes, we are inferior to men. And what is the reason for that? How it is manifested like that in society is because of our elders, sir. Because our elders look at things in a very biased way. They have lived in a system where they were made to feel yes, they are not equal to men, but they are inferior to men. So that stereotype or that system they try to impose on the present generation. And now the children are very intelligent, so especially the girl children, they ask them questions. Why should I not do this? And the elders, right from the time a girl child is, she attains her puberty, or she is just 3 years or even 4 years old, they say, if a boy commits a mistake, it will only affect him, but if a girl commits a mistake, it will affect the entire family, through which the elders give permission to the boys to make humpty number of mistakes they want and to commit humpty number of crimes they want. And when the girl child goes and questions that particular elder at home as to why we are inferior to men and why men have given freedom, the elders very subtly ask the girl child to keep quiet. They really want to quieten the girl child because they are scared if girls come up, the men would go down. It's like just the male poets wanting the female poets to always I still remember, so how when I was reading one poem of a feminist, I was so upset that how the male poets, due to fear, if the female poets, if they come up in life, they might suppress the males, and that fear makes that inequality to come in. So I think it's because of the elders having a very biased attitude, and if a girl child goes and questions them, they are just asking her to keep quiet and making her a numb mission, sir.
Very good, very insightful, Miracle, and beautiful, right? You've
Thank
given
you, sir.
some amazing insights on how the elders propagate such stereotypes. This is exactly what I wanted, right? I'm so happy that you came out from your heart and whatever ails the system. Good. And I think it's Anne Bradstreet who came out with these lines that you said. I'm not
Correct,
sure,
sir. Yes.
right? Yeah,
In her prologue, sir.
exactly. Prologue. Yes, good. Very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh, we'll have Tracy.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Yeah.
1 minute. I don't want to interrupt, but as sir, can I say something?
Yes, you can.
I think when Racklin was talking about it, it really reminded me of something, especially when she was pointing out elders. I think this is sort of like a perpetuating cycle because from a very personal experience, like within my own family, my grandparents have different principles, my parents have different principles, and I have different principles. Even though, yes, they did pass on their very views to me, but like every generation, I think I might also face the same situation when it comes to the following generation after me. And I was literally seeing my parents argue with their parents about certain things, how that was unfair, and it was like slowly, how to say, there were changes. And elders, I think sometimes it might come on us as well for our future generation, but this is something I really noticed very recently, and I just wanted to point that out. Just say it. So
Good. Very good. Tracy.
Yes, sir.
Thought thought provoking. Again,
Yes, sir.
you like to take it forward from the grandparents, right? That's how you're trying to say.
since she brought in elders, I just saw that change from our parents, and again, I was disagreeing with them on a lot of things. So the more we think we are forward, I think it's gonna always be the same. It's still gonna continue. At one point, we are gonna be those elders as well, because we all live in a different society, different era, and different changing principles. So when she brought out elders, I had to say this because I just saw this happen, and I was wondering, oh my god, I think another 20 years it's going to be me here and trying to cope with the future generation, which I have to face the same issue, and I'm still going to be blamed. So that was uh, it's a very present problem. It's going to keep being there.
So, do you think there is a solution at sight, at least in the imminent near future?
I don't think so, sir. The world's always gonna change, and I think this is gonna be a never-ending stereotype. Elders, I don't know. From just my small experience, I'm just giving my opinion. People might change. People might educate other people to be more inclusive, as you were talking about. But just saw like 30, 50 years of people, I mean, generation just arguing something that they can't, because as we grow older, we also think we belong, but we don't belong. That sort of crisis is always going to be there. And each generation has a very different opinion, has a very different definition of uh, what the world is around them and who they are and how the youth belong more than the old people. I think that is also something that the elders or the people who are in power talk about. The power is in the youth. I mean, it's in their hands to move the nation forward. But I think there's always going to be a conflict because the power is not always in the youth. It's always in the elders right now. If you see, it's all the old people, the active people who are in power, but yet they keep saying the youth has. So I think there's a very different cycle to what they say and to what is happening. Um, this is something that I noticed.
Good, very good, very insightful. That's why I wanted to ask you further on that. You have some real amazing thoughts. Good, Tracy. But, although we might not have immediate answers, You're being very practical about it. Good, right? Um, and Sana Anju.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sana.
So I think even school plays a major part in this, sir. Because I'll just take an example. If you see, schools don't have an open talk with girls and boys in the class, especially if you see the part where when girls are on periods after a certain age, we need to hide that. Not just in schools, also in the house. We shouldn't say to the boys that we are on our periods. Some menstruation cycle is going on. We need to hide that, and schools parents somehow play a very major role in that. I think most importantly schools exercise it, but now I have seen one or two schools changing it, but it is just like 10%. The 90% of the schools are still doing that, not having an open talk with girls and boys. I think teachers can actually make a difference, but the sad part is they are exercising it in schools, and that is the reason the stereotypes are still going on. So I think schools
Very
sir.
true, very true, Samanjam. Yeah, I really agree with you on whatever you said. Very insightful. Actually, schools have a very major role to play, and teachers don't wish to talk about the problem, thus making it something as if it's something embarrassing or as something that is taboo, something not worthy of discussion, right? Something that is so natural, right? As if doesn't have to be in the public domain at all. Good, very insight. This is what these are thoughts that are transformational, right? And if you have read any text, I've read a lot of whatever you guys have been saying in Sudhamurti, especially a social feminist, not a socialist feminist, right? She's one feminist who wants to take feminism right from its academic pinnacle to the masses, and that's why she endears herself to us much more than any academic feminist would do. I've seen a whole lot of these, thoughts in her stories, in her texts. Right? Good, Sama. Now, the next person, whoever in the alphabetical order has finished so far, you can say, or Samuel Arulashik, you may, followed by Shannon Patricia. Samuel,
Yes, sir.
yes,
Good morning,
Shannon.
sir.
Yeah, good
Good
morning.
morning, sir. What I feel, so many of my classmates listed out reasons as to why these stereotypes are still being followed by people. I think that the root and the base lies in the very mind of the humans. They feel that it is necessary for them to accept those things. Only then there's a room for stereotypes to propagate, sir. If they don't, at the very earliest stage, if they did not accept that, it would have been abandoned right then, sir. It is only because of the conditioning that is housed within the minds of the humans. That's why stereotypes are still flourishing, sir. They also like to repeat the cycle. They are not in a motive to end the cycle, sir. They just want to repeat the cycle of stereotypes within after their generations. That's why stereotypes are still flourishing, sir.
Good, very valid points. Shannon Patricia said, how they propagate issues because even early in their life, they don't wish to come away from these stereotypes. They want to perpetuate. It's a kind of continue or sustain the cycle of stereotypes. Very valid points. Good, Shannon Patricia. Then Sharon and Viju, you may. Then Samuel Arul Ashik, are you there? And Sharon Jemima.
Yes, sir. Though mostly stereotypes are manifested through advertisements, they're also manifested by some people who are in power also by the people who are around us, that is our own family members sometimes. But it's also manifested by some unseen rules, just as Shannon said, it's in our minds. So one of my friends, she wanted to join an Indian Air Force, but she was not allowed to do so by her family members. Just because she was a girl, she was prohibited from it. Also, there was a play by Mahashweta Devi on born labor. But I forgot the title now. It shows how a person can't change his social standard just because of that bond. But in the end, we find that that bond never existed, but in the minds.
Very good, Sharon. Worthy points, right? The barriers in the mind, how the mind has been colonized by such mundane, such cliched stereotypes, and how we should decolonize the mind from these conditionings that have happened over a period of time. It is in the mind. Good, very insightful, Jemima. Yeah. Now we'll have Sharon and Viju. Is there? Then
Yes, sir.
yes. Good morning, Sharon.
Sir, I I actually thought of the point where elders play a very important role in kind of
Sustaining these
spreading or
stereotypes.
sustaining the stereotypes. So I don't have much of a point.
Okay, good, Sharon and Viju. Good. Yeah. Sunanta, you may
Good morning, sir.
then. Yes. Good morning, Sunanta.
Sir, I would blame it on patriarchy, and we know that men are large in number, and I think that itself plays a huge role in manifesting these stereotypes. According to their convenience, they make rules and all those thoughts, and they also get instilled in. They also instill their thoughts in women, I think, and that is being followed on generations. So, and the reason, one more reason, I think, why they are being still followed is also dependency. Uh, when people are dependent, even though they have some broad-minded thoughts, they can't go against their elders. I have felt it sometimes when sometimes we need to go against the parents for some reasons, but uh, I still feel indebted to them, and sometimes I cannot go against them for some reasons. So that dependency also plays a role, I think.
Very good. That is Sunanta, right?
Yes, sir.
Sunanta, you raised some amazing points, some really pertinent points. The dependency factor, a very important point you raised. This is a beautiful point that connects with a very important post-colonial term called agency. I remember having watched a movie, a Malayalam movie, just a month ago. I forgot the title of the movie, but the movie goes like this. There is a girl. To admit honestly, I've been a great fan of Anna Bin, right? An actress who's been creating a lot of sensation by her acting. Right? Such realistic acting, it's rare to find in any of the contemporary actresses, in my opinion, from my point of view. So I've been watching her movies because they're all socially relevant ones. In this particular movie, you find she is dependent on somebody else, maybe her brother-in-law, and in the family, her brother-in-law happens to be a kind of a psychopath, and she is in that family. She's dependent. She's not able to voice her ideas, her opinions. She's not even able to sit at the dining table or the dinner table to interact with the people at her own home, with their own mom. When the patriarchal conditioned society gives him the place after dinner table, and then he has dinner there, and he has to command them, come and sit with me. He has to give the command. Very insightful. This word we call it agency. Agency that we have. Uh, to rephrase whatever Sunanta has said, in a post-colonial parlance, it would be what is called lack of agency or denied agency. Very good, Sunanta. Right? I think you should work further
Thank you,
on
sir.
this concept of dependency factor using some theoretical postulates that will make some amazing papers, right? Good. All the best, Samantha.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Susan Grace, you may please proceed. Yeah.
Sir, I feel movies play a very major role, sir. Like children and even youngsters, they tend to follow what is being said in movies, and they tend to follow like very famous dialogues. And some of those are very stereotypical, and I think that creates a major impact in the society. And also, I feel religious institutions play a very major role, sir. The fear they instill. For instance, in my church, they used to tell me that if you wear Western clothes, it is a sin, so you'll be going to hell. So the fear that is instilled in people that affects the society at large, sir.
Very true. Very, very true. Right? Very pertinent, very relatable points that you have said, Susan. Yes. Power structures, what Louis Althusser would say, the ideological state apparatus that condition our thinking, beyond which we are not able to come out. The church, the education that we get, right? Two modes. Michel Foucault says there are two powerful modes through which ideas or knowledge is propagated in society. Right? Two modes. One is through the academic system. The second one is through the medical system. Right? So one is academics. The second one is medicine. Even the president of the United States, Joe Biden today, he must have passed through that elementary classes, isn't it? LKG, UKG, or kindergarten, or primary schooling, secondary, then senior secondary, like that. Anybody, Abdul Kalam, or a president, or a prime minister of the nation, they all go through education. So whatever we learn in our schools condition our thinking. Some of you beautifully voiced out, in schools, they don't have the mind or the heart to discuss something called menstruation as if it were something taboo. The schools give us a knowledge framework. This is from Michel Foucault when he talks about the power knowledge connect. The second is through the medical system, where a doctor writes a new disease, the name of a new disease, SARS, SARS virus, COVID virus, coronavirus, or whatever, or cancer, CANCER, or tuberculosis. Then this name gets into society. See how knowledge is disseminated through powerful institutions, he says, are instrumental in disseminating knowledge or propagating knowledge in society. And how they maintain themselves. I think two of you haven't spoken out. I think one is those who haven't spoken out so far. Arul, right? Samuel, Arul, Ashik. Then who else hasn't? You may.
Me, sir.
Adeline, I'm sorry. Yes, Adeline, you may. Yeah.
Um, can I mention two, sir? I've had a lot on my mind. I'm not able to pick one.
Yes, you may.
The first very common stereotype is body image and not embracing body diversity. Especially in India, we've been conditioned to think that one particular beauty standard is the only acceptable beauty standard, that we ignore so many other options like women overweight or men too thin, and you get the point, right?
Yeah.
So we associate their clothing and their body shape, and we categorize them as the beauty standards vary. I've seen this coming up very often recently because my sisters, they're searching for a husband for my sister, and it seems very objectifying when we search for men, or when the men search for women as their life partner, but their criteria are based on physical features, their height, their weight, their color, skin color. If you look at it from a non-cultural aspect, from third person perspective, it's very objectifying and negligent of the human's personal abilities. So body image is a very common concern in India. And the second stereotype that's always annoyed me is the words and slur words affiliated with men and women. like the same adjectives that we use for strong or confident in men, we don't use it, it's changing now, but the more common is women are subjected to negative adjectives. The same behavior that are glorified in men are kind of um, demotivated in women.
Yeah.
So
Good.
that's it.
Yeah. I'll give you the word for that. It's called a pejorative. And the other word for that, what is pejorative? You might have known this. Look at this. I, sorry, he drinks coffee. Just take the sentence. I hope it is visible to everyone. No? Yeah. So he drinks coffee. In this sentence, it is a very normal sentence. Now, if I remove the just one word there, just one word, I remove it. Now, what is the meaning there? The meaning completely changes, isn't it? It gives a pejorative, means a negative shade or a negative color. Beautifully, she said, Adeline Sellis. How something that is, and the next word is sexist. We all know this. I'm just using this again. It's sexist language. So, she is carrying a bag. Now look at the sentence. She is carrying a bag. This is a very proper sentence without any pejorative labeling. Now, if I were to use it like this, I just remove the noun a bag. Right? Now, what happens? It gets a pejorative color, in the sense a negative color. Negative in the sense in this context. Right? So a different coloring altogether. That's what I'm just giving you these two words to give you the meaning of the word pejorative. Pejorative means something that carries another meaning altogether, what you didn't intend in the first place. Not a pun, actually. So the same with sexism also in language. Very good. Now, before the class ends for the day, I just have a suggestion for you guys. Right? Minimum of at least 5 papers this semester, if you present. Right? Coming out with these thoughts that have touched you, that come from the heart. Minimum of 5 papers this semester. For my wards, they have to present minimum of 2 papers, right, for your project, because it's mandatory. For me, I don't know about other teachers, they might ask you, but 2 paper presentations and the two publications. Not for me, I'm not doing it selfishly. This will help you once you uh, are done with your MA program. They will look at your publications, right? That's why indirectly we're asking you. Minimum of 5 papers if you have presented this particular semester, and show me the certificates. Right? Minimum of, someone wants to join the call. Yeah. Minimum of 5 papers if you present this semester. Your teacher will honor you in a very grand way, right? With a huge cash prize also. I don't want to reveal anything else. 4 years back, when I started this endeavor, one student, his name is Roshan Tony, he was also there in the research workshop we had concluded, no, recently concluded. He presented 6 papers in a semester and published more than 3 papers also, right? I sponsored a very huge workshop in Madras University because the HOD there is a very good friend. I sponsored the whole thing, and the Australian consulate, I forgot his name. He was there, general. He was there, and he gave him the award, a certificate, and a cash prize with a whole lot of books also. This is just to motivate you, my dear students, right? So the rich thoughts that you have, the valuable thoughts that you have, put them down in pen and paper, present them in a conference, get some recognition for what you have said. One little thought that you disseminate, you won't know how it circulates in society and creates an impact. You know, the Fair and Lovely girl who created an impact. I think her name is Chandana, I'm not sure. Years back, she started a campaign against the word fair. You said no words. The word fair in Fair and Lovely. Last year, Hindustan Lever, a name, a tag that has been there for 45 long years, they had to remove that term because of one girl's efforts. Today, we have access to a whole lot of social media and other things. In my own little way, if I could come out with my voice in paper presentation, these are academic endeavors that you can possibly do, right? Publications. You can just tomorrow, I think 17th, this afternoon, gender sensitivity. Dr. Joseph Duraraj's wife, Mrs. Mary Magdalene, is giving a wonderful lecture this afternoon. I will pass on the link just 1 hour. Please try to be there. She's giving a lot of information on gender sensitivity. She's from Fatima College, Madurai. I think she should be the HOD now, Dr. Mary Magdalene Abraham. This afternoon, I think, like 17th. No, yes, I'll pass it on and try presenting papers. Right, you are simply the best. The dissemination of knowledge that you've been having right for the past 2 days. Hats off to you guys. You're so amazing. Right? I only wish that we take it forward in our own little ways by creating a little impact in society in our own little circle. We are not going to change the world, but we can create ripples or waves in our own little circle, isn't it? And then, when I said in the year 2003 in my classes, getting dowry is a curse. I said this, a real incident in my class, that getting dowry is a curse. How can you dare live in your father-in-law's sweat when you should be giving something to your father-in-law for giving their tangam, for giving their gold? Their gold is what? Their girl, they brought it to you. How can you even dare think of receiving dowry? And I also told them it how you should sustain your family. You both together should sustain your family with the income that you get. No one is inferior or superior to the other. The very next year, a guy called Shaktivel, he got married. He's from Salem. He's a great zamindar. He's a wealthy landlord there. He called me up for his wedding and he said, "Sir, I want to invite you specially." Right? This was in the year 2004. I'm going on record when I say this. I want you called you especially because you've changed my conception, the whole system of wedding itself. I've not got a penny in dowry stuff. This was years back. So the little transformation that we can do in our own little circle can create waves, isn't it? So with this little thought, we'll continue the next class. Those who haven't spoken here, like Samuel and a few others, you have to talk in the next class. Thank you so much. If there are any questions or any suggestions or clarifications, you can ask me now. Otherwise, you may log out. I'll wait for 2 minutes, right? If there are any doubts or clarifications, you may please unmute yourself and ask me your questions. Otherwise, you may log out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yes, Kadiravan. Yeah.
sir, this is not much of a doubt, sir, but I just wanted to share something with you, sir.
Right.
Sir, actually, I have written a research paper, sir.
Good. Very good.
I did not know where to start. I did not know the methodologies. I was not introduced to it, sir. So I think if you're free, can you please read it and guide me, sir?
Definitely, yes, Kadiravan. You may just send it
Yes.
across to my mail ID, rufusonline@gmail.com. I'll just
Okay, sir.
put my email ID here, rufusonline@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Right, yeah, you can, or even my official email ID. Right away, I'll just go through it, and then immediately you can have it published. I'm so happy for you, Kadiravan. Hats off to you. Start
Thank you, sir.
that you have this real burden for good research, right? Hats off to you, and you'll be a trend setter for your juniors, right? And for your uh, other juniors also, immediate juniors and other juniors also. Good. Congratulations, Vedran.
So thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I will send the paper through mail, sir.
yes, you can. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
please. Yes. If there are no other
Sir,
questions, yes, yes, yeah. Christy,
sir, I
yes.
just wanted to inform you that I'm on a way of publishing a book.
Very good, very good. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. It
Congratulations.
comprises of 20 poems.
Ah, ah, ah. Good. Very